Bitcoin's never going to go away. Crypto is software. There's nothing nefarious about software. Software didn't do anything wrong. It's the people that were abusing it, misusing it, and frauding with it. And the bad actors, they're going to be gone. I mean, I agree with making them illegal, but not the actual technology, which is very advanced. I'll give you a use case that I think you'd appreciate. This just happened to me this week. So you know I'm a big watch collector, and there's a new hot watchmaker that just emerged in Switzerland named Simon Brielle. He is smoking hot. He made 12 production watches and then 5 special prototypes. I think he's the next F.P. Journe. Now, the ability to get one of these pieces, to get one of those 5, he's only going to sell number 3 and 4. You have to be accepted as a collector. He has to know with certainty that you're going to honor his brand. He's like Picasso. He came out, he was a watchmaker, an apprentice watchmaker, and then he started showing some tendencies towards tremendous style. Unbelievable dials, incredible, never seen before pieces of art. Stunning, stunning. All kinds of innovations that no one's ever seen. Like the gears are made of shark teeth, or they look like little shark teeth working together. Of course, that fits for me, being a shark and all that. But also incredible polishing techniques and this new modeling with gold on the dial, which is unbelievable. The point is, to get that piece, you have to be accepted, and there's only 2 for sale. The first one went to a minister in the United Arab Emirates who's a friend of mine. So he went on my behalf to Simon and introduced me. We did a long 1-hour Zoom. I gave my case. I won that number 4. So number 3 and 4, I have number 4. Now I have to pay him. Now I have to transfer the capital, which is material. Now get this, the SWIFT system, I take US dollars. I gotta transfer it to a bank in Zurich. 3 days. They got my money for 3 days. They're not paying me any interest. Then I got to transfer the USD into Swiss francs. I get clipped 20 basis points there. And then I got to pay Simon. I'm getting totally screwed. Now, if I had...
but you don't care.
Well, I care because I realize if I could just use a digital payment system like USDC or any other one that was regulated, I could send it to in 1 second. And so that's why this innovation is going to happen. And I'm just one use case, but the point is, these senators, these governors, now Toomey has retired. We knew he was carrying the digital football until Jan 3rd. Now we have Haggerty's team. He's picking up the baton, and I think he's going to become the go-to senator, kind of hockey sticking through the House. So I'm hoping that we'll get some policy in the next 9-12 months. We'll see. We are at 38% cash, yielding about 3.2 to 3.8% depending on duration. That's a pretty high amount for us right now. We also put on a 4% Bitcoin position starting in the mid-November after the FTX debacle. We had to reestablish some positions. Obviously, we put them up in Canada under the OSC jurisdiction, which is completely compliant platform called BitBuy. That's where I hold it. And that is one of my best performing assets. We were buying it just sub 17,000. Here we are at 23. It's been a great performer. Everybody has their own opinion about of any of the cryptos actually. But I think now is a time to be very careful with crypto because Bitcoin, you don't have to have 32 positions. You can have 6 and you get the same volatility. On equities, I'm a little more cautious. I won't buy anything now that doesn't have positive cash flow on all 11 sectors with distributions. I'm hoping to get 6% capital appreciation by year end on the equity plus 2% yield of some kind. Bonds were terrible last year. We're tiptoeing into short duration BBB and above a little bit. I think you got to keep your powder dry. I'm kind of in that Ray camp. 38% cash is a lot of cash. The big decision I'm trying to make today is how much of this chat, AI do I want to buy? It's a smoking hot deal. The valuation's crazy, but I think I have to participate. Well, Ferrari has become a luxury brand in itself. Even if you don't buy the car, you can buy the merchandise. It's smoking hot as well. I mean, all these categories. Let me give you some categories that have really kept pace with Ferrari. Vintage cars, not cars that are less than 10 years old, but the vintage Ferraris have outpaced the S&P dramatically. Vintage watches have outpaced. Vintage writing instruments, pens, modern art. I mean, there is a desire to deploy alternative asset classes in this cycle like never before. And so when I make watch purchases like what I'm doing right now on the Simon Brielle piece, that's really an alternative asset class. I mean, it's sort of, I'm thinking I'll make 11 to 17% a year on that for the next 20 years, like I did with my FP Journe. So Ferrari falls into that category. You're seeing the same thing with Tiffany, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet. All of these brands have survived the volatility of 2022 and are coming into 2023 very strong because there's a lot of cash, 4 trillion cash on the sidelines looking for a place to be deployed. The Rolex market I'm very familiar with. Primary Rolex, no, you can't. Secondary market's down 28% if the watch is less than 3 years old. When you get past 3 years, it's been a very stable market. Vintage, they have a new program, Danielle, that they're trying to launch in March, where if you bring your old piece in, they'll re-authenticate it with a new certificate. I think they're going to have a hard time with that because they require you to give up your original certificate, which I would never do. And so Rolex is going through this remarkable transition because they realize their secondary market is far more valuable than their primary. It's 12 times the size, and they want to somehow figure out how to participate in that. So a lot of these brands, Rolex is contacting me about this. I've got a massive Rolex collection. And I said, guys, I'm never giving up my primary certificate, ever. So I think it's going to be very interesting this year. My anticipation for terms of what we'll get in returns are going to be around 6% from equity. And I'm talking the whole year. And another 2% from div yield or distribution. So an 8% year, which is kind of right in the middle of what you anticipate. What I've learned is consumers still have fat wallets. They still have a lot of cash sitting around. They were prudent in terms of all the freebies they were giving out. When we talk to new recruits in their early 30s, people that have already had one job now moving, they have a lot of demands. 40% of them won't work in an office, particularly in infrastructure work or in accounting or payroll or logistics or compliance, those departments. I'm just interviewing a third round for more financial analysts. I found 2 great ones to add to O'Leary Ventures. We need them for this North Dakota initiative. Not a chance they're coming into the office. And these guys are, and this one woman, one guy, they've never worked in an office. They don't even know what that means. And so there's a whole new tonality to the workforce that I don't think everybody's adjusted to yet.